In this video, we're going to talk about Bloom's taxonomy and give some examples of how it applies to allied health students studying in programs such as nursing, medical assisting, or patient care tech. So first of all, what is Bloom's taxonomy? Well, you can think of this as different categories that are used to describe the level of difficulty for different assessments. So if we looked at, for example, a test, and we looked at the different questions on those tests. Some tests may be pretty easy. It may really be just a question where you need to memorize facts and recall those facts. It could be something a little bit more difficult where you need to analyze the situation and determine what the best answer is. And then it could also involve creating something, coming up with an idea or a plan based on what you know. So as we go from the bottom to the top in this pyramid, the level of the assessment gets much more difficult. So this could also apply to various assignments that you do. So we're going to talk about each level and give a specific example related to healthcare. So first of all, remembering, this is going to be at the lowest level of Bloom's, and this is basically being able to recall facts or information that for the most part you have memorized. So for example, if I gave you a question that says name the 5 types of white blood cells, you could then list neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, lymphocytes, and monocytes. You basically have named those 5 types of white blood cells. The next level is understanding. And so this is a little bit more than just memorizing facts. This is now taking that information one step further. So interpreting things, summarizing things, classifying different items. And so an example would be if you saw the name of an antibiotic, you could tell that it was an antibiotic. So if you saw the name amoxicillin, you know that that is a medication to treat an infection such as strep throat or an ear infection. The next level is applying, being able to do something with the information that you have learned. So we may have first talked about all the materials you need to apply a cast to a broken arm. We may have talked about the different things that you need to instruct a patient on when it comes to wearing a cast. We may have talked about the different things that casts are made of. And we may have even reviewed the steps, but now you're going to actually demonstrate the proper way to apply a cast to a broken arm. So that would be under the category of applying. Analyzing. This is when you're going to take information, maybe from multiple sources, and you're going to recall certain things you've learned about that information and then start to apply it to a given situation. So for example, if you were given a test question that told you what the lab results were for a patient's cholesterol test, you could then determine if was that a normal cholesterol level, a normal healthy cholesterol level, or is that cholesterol at a level that puts the patient at risk for heart attack based on the number. Evaluating takes it even a step further. So think about a case study. Maybe you're looking at a case study or maybe just a certain critical thinking question on a test about a particular patient. So reviewing a patient case study and determining what would be the best course of treatment for this patient based on a list of options, either in a drop-down menu or a multiple choice question. Often in the healthcare field, when you're assisting doctors, you're part of the team that is putting together the treatment plan. So when it comes to creating, we're putting something together based on all of the information, all of the facts, all of the prior knowledge that we have gained. So this example would be working with classmates to put together a treatment plan for a patient. So we know the patient's diagnosis, and so now we're going to put together a whole plan of treatment for that illness. Everything from medications to lab work that might be done to referrals to specialists and things like that. So that is just kind of a demonstration from the medical aspect of how to apply Bloom's taxonomy to various assessments. Now we also have what's called the study cycle, and this is really something that you want to try to follow as you prepare each week for your classes, for your homework, your assignments, your tests, whatever you're working on that week. Everyone has certain things that work well for them when they study and certain things that don't, but it's better if you're following a method. And so this method here called the study cycle has been proven to be very helpful for many students. So it starts off with previewing. We, as instructors, we always want students to read before you come to class. It's going to be more meaningful to you to sit through a lecture if you have at least read the material and you're not hearing it for the first time when you come to class. So if you can just either read the entire part of the material that you need to read, or maybe skim through it and try to look at what you think are the most important points, at least you're somewhat familiar. Then you attend class. You go to your class, you definitely pay attention, take good notes, ask questions, do everything you would normally do in the class. If you could possibly sit down and review what happened in class that day, that very same day, maybe a few minutes later or a few hours later, a very good review session just kind of helps you to think about and analyze what you just learned in class. Then you're going to set up time where you're going to study. Okay, that's when you're going to be in an area where you're not going to get distracted. You're going to have everything set that's going to make you comfortable while you're studying. And you're going to determine what is the best amount of time to sit and study before you take a break. In a lot of cases, about 50 minutes is the longest. Some people even say 30 minutes. And then you should give yourself a short break. At times, you want to just determine, am I understanding this? Let me assess myself. Am I understanding what I'm learning? Is it making sense to me? Am I able to build on my learning by taking what I learned yesterday or last week and applying it to the new material today? Or am I getting stuck? And do I maybe need to reassess the whole situation? So if you will approach studying by using the study cycle, it should definitely help you to improve in your overall progress and the results on tests and other assessments.